other area, there's no need for that flag. But if we look back and we see the quarterback, he still has the ball and he's patting and he's looking, then that gives us a time to say, hey, let's put our flag down here because there's an advantage. He may have been looking at that receiver. So the whole process is for you to slow down. And then also, I mean, we want quality flags. Just because we see some reaction or we see an action, we just don't want to react to it right away.
Love it. 1-2 step.
Contact by player
the important piece here. All right, Terrence, we're going to jump in. I've got like 6 clips, and these were cut out of some NFL training. And I'm going to let them play through a little bit and then just have you give us a quick snapshot of maybe a little bit better understanding of what they're talking about here. So the first one called not playing the ball.
Playing the ball that restricts the opponent's opportunity to make the catch. Contact by a player who is not playing the ball that restricts the opponent's opportunity to make the catch.
I mean, I think this first one's pretty clear. I mean, he gets into the receiver. I mean, he tries to, at the last minute, look back because he thinks that's going to get him off the hook for a foul. But right now, he's playing the man and not playing the ball. And then he tries to look back at the last minute. But it goes back to officiating 101, advantage, disadvantage. I mean, he's put this receiver at a disadvantage. Now, late desperation, he tries to turn around like he's looking for the ball. The foul's already happened. So what I would tell you from an indicator standpoint, a lot of times when these guys are beat, they tend to cheat. So when I always say that, if they're beat, they're going to cheat. So he's kind of beat already to the outside. So now I need to catch up with this guy, get some kind of contact on him, get my body on him, just so I can stay in the game. So your indicators really just need to go up when this guy is cheating or he's beat and he's just kind of lost. He's playing the man and not the ball.
So, Terrence, just to go back to the 1-2 step, the second step here is that the ball came in this direction?
Absolutely. So you see him snuggled up with that guy, and then the 2-step is just like you said. Here comes the ball coming out. Now, was that enough to put him at a disadvantage? Absolutely. When the guys are not playing the ball, my tolerance level is just down to 0. I mean, it's absolutely 0. If they're not playing the ball and they're playing the man, now you could just flip this whole role. Let's say they're both looking back at the ball right now and there's contact. I mean, there's no real advantage, disadvantage as long as there's not a push in the back or something. So I'm going to let that play out. But if I'm facing the guy, if the defender's facing the guy like he is, there's like no tolerance, 0 tolerance. Yeah, like that. I mean, there's 0 tolerance there. But you got to look at it both ways, too. Let's say right now, they're really snuggled up, but let's just say that receiver happened to push that defender with a straight arm to create separation. So now what do we have?
The push off?
Yeah, it would be OPI in that situation, right?
Yep.
Let's say they're snuggled up, and let's say there's a point where you're okay with the snuggling of the DB, but let's just say he 85 just straight arms and pushes that defender, almost like get off me. But the fact that he would have a straight arm and push, the guy doesn't have to go down, but we would have to see some separation. And if that receiver was to do this in that situation, I mean, that's clearly enough advantage to call OPI. But in this situation, the receiver's just trying to get around the defender that has no idea where the ball is. And so this is just like Ray Charles, call this one all day.
Okay, somebody, I just saw Brian said he can't see the video.
No, that was John.
Oh, okay. So everybody can see the shared video.
Everyone can see it, and thank you, Brian and Chuck.
All right, here's the next one. This is playing through.
An attempt to make a play on the ball.
I'll play it through again here.
An attempt to make a play on the ball. An attempt to make a play on the ball.
So it seems like we may even have a video of an offensive player trying to play through the defensive player because of a height difference. I don't know if I've got that in the setup or not. Anything you can go deeper on us with this, Terrence?
So with this play, you really need to see the early contact. I mean, it looks pretty obvious to us as we're watching this. And the only reason that's the case is because we're slowing it down. If you would play this real speed, full time, if all the bodies and the ball all get there at the same time, we don't want to foul on this one. But this right here, they're clearly slowing it down just to emphasize, hey, this is what we're looking at. But these guys are getting so good now that they almost time it perfectly, or they'll get through the back as the ball's hitting there at the same time. And if that's the case, I mean, we don't like to use that word, but if it's like a bang bang situation or it all arrives simultaneously, just stay away from it. We want to have some kind of delay in this action where we can say, yeah, he clearly went through his back.
So, Terrence, a question, in high school, we have 5 guys.
Correct.
So how do we see this with only 5 guys? Do we got to get to ball? We go man zone ball, and that happens pretty quickly. So, this is coming across the middle. Can we talk a little bit? I mean, the back judge is going to have the best look on this because of his angle, correct?
Correct.
So the back judge kind of has to be scanning what's going on. How does the back judge pick up that ball?
How does he pick up the ball?
Well, I guess, the back judge sometimes has a receiver that the ball's not going to. And I'm just trying to sort out how we have that back judge trained more to look. He can't take his eyes off his receivers in his zone, but he has to kind of start narrowing that cone down to the ball then, right?
Yeah, I mean, so, we've been talking about this a lot during all of our sessions. I know we hear man zone ball and all that, but I mean, first of all, it comes back to reading the play, recognizing what's going on, and being the back judge. I mean, you're the free safety back there. So I do, and I don't know if it's right or wrong, but I've been doing it for a long time. I cheat like crazy of watching that quarterback and where his eyes are. And at this level, there's not going to be a lot of looking off, checking down to the second and third receiver. A lot of times these kids, I mean, they know and they'll tell you right away, hey, they're going to this guy. So it may be just be a 5-step drop and, he's locked down and he's releasing that ball to that guy. So to your point, Mark, I mean, let's say my key is on the left side of the screen and I'm looking at the quarterback. You can feel when this other receiver's coming. And like I said, it all goes back to the pre-snap as well. When all the receivers come out to the line of scrimmage and break the huddle, I think we need to know where every receiver is on the field and what are the possibilities.
So
it's 3rd and 12, and we're spread out. I know I got 3 guys over here, and there's a single guy over here. I mean, those are the things that we need to think about prior to the snap. And it's just a matter of repetition and reading the plays faster. So I bet if you go back to the previous week and look at whoever the quarterback is, it's going to give you some telltale signs of who his hot receiver is. We should know that when that guy comes into the game, hey, this is their stud receiver. We need to know where he is. All these other stuff out there is just decoys.
Let's go to the next one.
Grabbing an opponent's arm in a way that restricts his opportunity to catch a pass. Grabbing an opponent's arm in a way that restricts his opportunity to catch a pass.
I bet these are tough to see. This kind of goes back to how many eyes we have on the field. This one's going to be a little tougher.
Yeah, and this one is like the back judge all day because we have that inside look from where we are. It's like that whole windshield wiper effect. And so we're able to look inside. I've been burned on this a couple times because these guys get real crafty with this. I had a situation where I just knew I had an inside arm grab, and so I fire away on my flag, and you come back and look at the replay, the receiver is actually grabbing the defender's arm, and then he's throwing his hand up. I mean, these guys try to sell this stuff. So you need to make sure, and it goes back to what we've been preaching, the only way you're going to see this is if your eyes are steady and not moving up and down. If you're running up and down, trying to read that book as you're running, there's no way you're going to see this. So try to get to a point where you're slowing down and just know to yourself, I need to be looking inside. A lot of times these guys will go up with one arm. I mean, sometimes they do that just to fool you, but you just need to be thinking, hey, they're hand fighting. Now he's restricting them and he'll pin it up to his chest.
I remember
there's some discussion about how tough that is with the 5-man crew, but I think the point is, the back judge has an inside-out look.
Correct.
So it may be a tough call for a back judge on a 5-man crew, but if he can get it, that's the only guy that can really see it.
Yeah, we haven't seen that from the wing.
Nobody else is going to be able to help him. I mean, look at this wing right here. I mean, there's no way he can tell that of what's going on there. I mean, this all has to be the back judge's call. And like I said, it's tough, but it's all the back judge.
Terrence, I remember you talking about right here. We don't have 4 hands going up in the air.
That's another point. It's a great point, Kurt. There's not 4 hands. Where are the other 2? They got to be doing something. That's a great thought process that you should have with this. If we got 4 hands, it's not a problem.
Hope I got somebody else chiming in here. Let me get them in. Okay, let's go to the next one.
Extending an arm across the body of an opponent, restricting his ability to catch the pass.
So this one's restricting route. Yeah, this clip has a flaw in it too. It gets hung up here. Let me start it over if I can. This one was having trouble earlier. Restricting route is the term. Let me
cutting off the path of an opponent.
Let's go to the next one. Cutting off the receiver
without playing the ball.
So just look at the defender's motion. This receiver's coming off the line. He's taking to the outside. What does the defender do? He goes over there, gets in this path, and just stops. I mean, if he's coming there, he can keep running with this thing. But he wants him to run up his back. And it's just a classic cutoff. If he wasn't doing this, he would continue to run with the receiver. But do you notice how he gets in his path and he literally just slows down? He almost stops.
Cutting off the path of an opponent by making contact with him.
Right here.
Without playing the ball.
Right here. See him? And then that's where you just start training your eyes to see stuff like this. But he clearly is just sitting right there. And he knows that guy's going to run up his back. So the timing is off. All of our stuff that we deal with is straight timing across the board. So this throws the timing off. And he's just hoping that, hey, whoever the official is down here doesn't throw his flag or anything. That's the cutoff.
Let me see if this one will play again. This was back to the restricting route.
Restricting his ability to catch the pass. This is commonly referred to.
Yeah, it gets hung up here. Let me let somebody else in here. Chavez is coming in. Terrence, I want to ask a question. Back to a comment you made earlier about bang, bang, and that you guys are trying to avoid that.
Watch.
Should we be avoiding?
You're breaking up again, Kurt. Hello. Can you guys hear me?
High school level. And what?
Gotcha.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry. Maybe. So you mentioned that you're trying to avoid the bang bang in the NFL, and I wonder if we should try to be thinking in the same terms. So I'm asking why is that not an acceptable use of a term at your level, and how does that affect us, and what does that look like to us?
Because the coaches, when they hear bang bang, I mean that's where it all starts. In their mind, they're saying, "Hey, my guy arrived there when he was supposed to." They want a more description. So instead of saying bang, bang, what we've been doing last year is saying, hey, the ball and the defender all arrived at the same time. So therefore it's not a foul. Versus when you say bang, bang, I mean, it's kind of like we've been saying that for so many years. It's just kind of like the default answer, and it pisses the coaches off because it doesn't give them any description.
Gotcha.
But if you can say, hey, coach, the ball arrived the same time as the defender did, they can live with that because you've given them some adjectives. You describe what the play was versus just saying an easy out of, oh, coach, it was just bang, bang. That's the frustration with that.
Okay. Anything on the comment line? Otherwise, we're going to look at a couple of high school plays here. Hickey, these were, I'm going to go to yours. Number 2 was, let me blow this up here. Number 2 was the one that you chose. Let's see what's going to go on. We got a circle around a wide receiver on the right side. And obviously our film isn't as broad, so it's going to be a little trickier to see what happens here. And I'm going to back it up here, but you can see really what's going on to get to that point. So ball's in the air right now. Let's slow it down. So we have, let's see, so Green's on offense. Passer rolls out, just throwing the ball down. So it looks like the offensive player is trying to come back to get the ball. So let's, I'm going to run it through one more time and let's practice a poll. And some of you that showed up late are not going to be able to run the poll. Let's see what we've got for a poll answer on this. Hold on, give me a sec. Get my poll ready. I'm going to activate this. Do we have pass interference? Yes or no? A is yes, B is no.
I am not seeing the poll.
Oh, thank you. Now you are.
Yep, there it is. Thank you.
Not seeing the poll, Kurt.
Is it on your phone?
Yeah, I'm on my phone.
So, Ussery, you can see the display of the poll on your screen.
Yes.
In the same
Same here.
place that the play was.
Yeah, the video was.
All right, I'm going to shut this down in a couple seconds. I have no idea to tell how many voted. It could just be 2. Well, it couldn't be 2. Then it'd be 50-50, wouldn't it? All right, I'm going to shut this down in 3, 2, 1.
Gosh darn it.
So we've got a 90-10 yes. So let me go back to sharing the clip. So let's talk through this. Let me take it back to the end. So if I could describe what I see, and again, this is the umpire. So it looks like everybody's traveling down. The defender with his back to the football is probably unaware of where the ball is until about right here. And then the offensive player tries to go up over the defensive player to get the ball.
Is this the only clip of this play you have?
Yes.
Yes.
It is.
Yes.
That's why I picked it.
I know, right? Exactly. That's why you picked
I'm not going to make it easy for you.
No, you can't, right? That's no fun. We officiate the gray, huh?
That's right.
So let me ask you a question. So if we're calling this pass interference, and this is something that we all should be doing on all of our fouls, is what category would you put this in as far as pass interference? Or if you were to take it a step further, how would you write this up on your game report? Like what, instead of saying pass interference, I mean, describe why this is pass interference or why it wasn't. So what would you say on this? Anybody?
Let's let Hickey answer that. Hickey, did you say it was a foul?
I did. I've got
So
defensive not playing the ball.
Run it
Is that
back
enough?
a little bit. Run it back a little bit for me.
I was going to say, Terrence, your supervisor, is that enough detail in that report?
What'd you say? Just not playing the ball?
Correct.
Stop it right. So is the receiver, is he behind the defender or is he ahead of him?
He's behind.
Okay. It's the only reason the receiver has to come back is because it's a shitty pass, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, I'm just talking out loud. I just want us to
Absolutely.
talk.
No, exactly.
It's good. I love it.
And so we're saying that he's not playing the ball. He's playing the defender. Well, the only reason that the contact occurs is because the receiver has to come back to the ball, right? On a bad pass. Just flip the rule. Does that, are you guys following what I'm saying?
Yep.
So, Terrence, is there a reason not to throw the flag? I think is the other question.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't. That's why I asked for another angle. I just kind of wanted to see another angle. Like I said, the only reason this looks ugly right there is because the defender or the receiver had to come back to the ball. It wasn't the defender that made this ugly. It's the receiver coming back right here to try to catch the ball. Yeah, and granted, I agree, the defender has no idea where the ball is, but I mean, it looks bad in the sense that it was an underthrown ball, and say we were award them pass interference. And so, Chuck, you just said you would categorize it as just not playing the ball
From the defensive standpoint, but I obviously see where you're coming from with it. That the offensive player is initiating the contact.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's ugly.
And I'm glad you put this play in here. I would just,
Would you lay off of this?
yes.
Okay.
I wonder.
And I would write it up. I mean, if I had to write it up, I would just say, hey, yeah, there was contact, but the receiver created the contact by coming back to the ball on a poorly thrown pass.
Do we not give that receiver a chance to catch whatever pass is poorly thrown on the field?
I mean, they both are entitled to the ball, right?
But if the defender knew where that ball was, they may not have made that type of contact. I struggle with that statement that if it wasn't a shitty pass, or because it was a shitty pass,
it's a touchdown if it's a good pass, right?
True.
Yes.
Because he's ahead of the defender clearly, right? But now it looked ugly because he had to come back through the defender's back.
So flip this around. What if the defender was turned around and could see the ball coming in? Would you have OPI?
I mean, he goes through his back, absolutely. Because you're taking away his chance from intercepting the pass now, right?
Yep.
If he has good position, his head's turned, he's looking at the ball, then here comes the defender through his back. I mean, it works both ways, right?
I agree.
And I think we have to do better as officials of calling OPI because they're doing just as much as the defenders are doing. But I think for years, we've been so locked in on defensive pass interference. I mean, these receivers are getting away with a lot of stuff. But to your point, if he's turned around looking for the ball and that receiver comes through his back, I'm clearly calling OPI on that.
So let's talk about mechanics of our back judge. As a back judge, can we stop at some point and see this better? Is the little bit of movement the back judge is making, is that put him at a slight disadvantage? Could we plant our feet here, or is that asking too much?
So my comment to that, I mean, we know the way this pass is coming in and going, it's not going to be a breakaway for a touchdown. I mean, it's either going to be intercepted or it's going to be caught right there, but the ball is going to be dead at that point. So there's nothing wrong with you getting absolutely stationary on there, because I just don't see this guy tipping the ball up, catching it, and takes off to the end zone. So you can really slow down on this play as soon as the catch and the action is about to happen. And I think we've been beat up for so many years about don't get beat to the goal line and blah, blah, this and that, and don't do that. I mean, you got to throw that mindset out. You're there to officiate the play. I mean, these kids are 20, 30 years younger than we are. So you're going to get beat to the goal line by somebody. But let's just make sure we're so worried about getting beat to the goal line, we miss the obvious through the back or something. So I have no problem. I mean, I just think for myself a little bit, I would like to be a little further downfield. But I mean, he's slowing down to where he can see the action.
Yeah.
I would just want him a little deeper.
I would think we would rather be officiating this play instead of, say, the receiver makes a spectacular play and we're hustling down and there's only one and it's only him. This is the most important part of the play, not being at the goal line or beating a receiver who makes a spectacular play who's by himself.
Well said.
I would like the takeaway from this for back judges. Let's get rid of that, the whole issue of, he got beat to the goal line and that is somehow a failure. We certainly don't like to get beat to the goal line when we don't have to, but I'm glad you're saying that, Terrence, because I hear that all the time, and we're not officiating when we're busting ass to the goal line because somebody thinks we got beat to the goal line and that's a negative. So
yeah. I
think this is good stuff we're talking about. All right, let's jump to the next play here. Actually, it was play 4. Let's run this one through. This was another one that Hickey requested here. I think we're going to get a circle here. Oh, look, we got the word bang, bang in our description here.
Ouch. Bang, bang.
All right, let's back this up and play this through. I think I might even be able to get rid of this circle so you guys can see it. Let me get rid of the circle and the message here so that it can play through. Take him back to the line of scrimmage. All right, here we go.
Do we want to answer right away or are we going to talk it out? Because you know what I'm going to say, right?
I think you have
I haven't listened to you enough to know.
What's that?
I don't think we need to pull this. I think we probably are familiar with the proper answer here.
So but the real proper answer is slow down, right? 1, 2. I just see a 1 in the flag.
That's a great point, Mark. I mean, as soon as he sees this action, his flag comes out. As soon as he sees that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with the late flag. And the reason you have a late flag, if you were to throw a flag, first of all, I'm going to tell you right now, this is not a fact. But if you were to throw a late flag, I mean, that just tells me that you're processing the action that you saw. So if it's pass interference right now, it's going to be pass interference 5 seconds from now, just like that touchdown thing that we talked about the other day. If it's a touchdown now, it's going to be a touchdown 5 seconds from now. So there's no need to get in such a hurry out there. When we start speeding around and mentally doing that, we get in so much trouble when we start going too fast. Go slow. If you think you're going slow, go even slower.
I think let's talk about the description. So let's say I'm the wing here, and I throw my flag out. My description in the report is going to be, I think the only thing I have is he got there early. I don't know what else he could have done to reach some level of a foul. There's no other indicator of pass interference than I thought he got there early.
When you play that in real time, Kurt, it's ball and defender all at the same time, right?
Right.
You can't make the living calling this because you're going to be wrong more than you are right. So we want to look for that element of time of contact, then the ball coming. When you have pass out here in the flat, watch, as soon as he touches the ball, the defender's right on him. Touch the ball, boom. That's way too tight. We're not that good. Make this easy on yourself. We are not that good. We want plays that have elements of time in there, not the ones where it all arrives at the same time.
Yeah, I think we can help ourselves at wing. We've talked about this quite a bit, but since the wing threw this flag, I think if we slow this down and we're not looking at this angle, but if we're back here closer to the line of scrimmage looking this direction, we're going to be better off. So back to wings, let's slow down, leaving the line of scrimmage and not get downfield so far, because
great point, Kirk.
These things end up in your lap way too often when you're down 5-6 yards.
So, from the beginning, Kirk. Can you
say it again?
Okay, we're snapping at the what? The 26?
27, 26,
27. And there's an end zone view of this as well.
Well, yeah, but the point is how quickly he got downfield. Way too quick.
Yeah, he's already reaching for his flag right there.
Absolutely.
So let's take it a step further. So, Chuck, you see this on the field. I'm the line of scrimmage guy, and you see that action on the field, how it happens. Is there some kind of conversation that you can have with this wing official?
Probably. We would need to go back and see where my key was. Not that, I mean, we've talked about not keying in on keys. Looks like this back check is looking inside. But certainly if I saw this and went to, as we've talked about, going man zone ball to come in and, offer information. I mean, I know what he's throwing on. At least I would hope.
So I would know what he's
throwing on.
It's me and you. So let's play it out. I throw that flag. What's the conversation, if any? Let's just say your receiver was over there too. So let's say you did have a look at that. What would you come up?
I would come in and offer that. From what I saw, and from my angle, I did not have pass interference.
So I think the better question, I mean, I like what you're saying, but let's not assume that we know it's pass interference.
Okay, fair.
So we can just say, hey, Terrence, what do you have on this play? And then I'll come up and say, hey, I got pass interference.
Mm-hmm.
He was there early. So then that's where you can offer. Because, I may have something else. Who knows? I may have something on the line of scrimmage, or I may have something else. So just always kind of ask,
okay,
Terrence, what do you have on this play?
And then that goes into those descriptors, isn't it? We need those descriptors that we were just watching in the NFL training.
Exactly.
And so Terrence is going to say, I thought he got there early. And then we go, wait. We thought he got there early? Or did you know he got there early?
And if you know, because we're all out there to help each other, just to officiate and get the play right. So if I come out and say, hey, he got there early, if that's my answer to you, Chuck, you can just say, hey, I had a great angle and the ball and the defender all arrived at the same time. And so then I just have to trust your judgment. I mean, we're out there to trust each other.
Right.
And that may just, by you saying that, it may just kind of tip me off like, yeah, I probably did throw that kind of fast. And so then that would be the dialogue as far as just picking that up.
But at the same time, I'm bringing the information. Let him make the final decision on what it is. And if he feels that right, present the information, unless it's so blatantly bad, that I 100% have it, and he's going to stick with it. I mean, how far do you press it with your crewmate?
I mean, I don't press it far. I mean, like I said, I'll offer the information. I said, this is the look that I had, and I saw it the entire way. I mean, I like to add that in there in my conversation, because a lot of times when we're looking at plays, we may get there late or something. So if you only have half the story and this guy had the action from start to finish, I'm going to let him go with his flag. But if I saw the entire action all the way, I would say that I saw the entire action all the way, and he did not get there early.
I think these are some great conversations, because it is so hard to pull somebody off a flag, or even let yourself get pulled off a flag, because there's a little bit of eat crow now with the bench that you got to deal with, and now all of a sudden there's a question of your judgment from there forward. So,
well, but the judgment is, I think the verbiage with the bench is, Coach, we're here to get the right call, and I had someone come in with some more definite information. So our goal is to get the right call, Coach.
Totally.
I think that's a verbiage to the coach.
Yep, he had a better look at it. I think that helps. Okay, here we've got the next play. We've got circled a white out at the top of the screen. Looks goofy as hell.
Is this another Chuck special?
This is a Chuck special.
It is. I know I'm killing you tonight.
Hey, it's all good, man. It is all good. Chuck special.
That's right.
And this is the only view that we have, right?
This is the only view we have.
Yeah, he doesn't pick out the ones you get two views of.
Kirk said pick 5 or 6. I said, okay.
All right, so let's break it down. So he comes off the line. Well, you're all right. So right now we're okay.
Get rid of that.
Still doing okay. Are they both looking back at the ball right then? I know the receiver is. Where's the defender? Where's his head?
I think he's looking back at the ball.
He's looking back right now.
I think he's looking back right now. Is he holding that guy at the end, like his left arm around his waist? If he's not doing anything around his waist, shit, I'm going to leave this alone. It's just hard to tell, Let it play.
I think if you had anything, you've got that he's not letting the receiver get to the route the receiver wants while the ball's in the air.
So what category of pass interference are you putting that in?
Cutoff.
Is it cutoff? There you go.
Is it a cutoff? I mean, he's already behind the guy. Would that be so? Remember that cutoff that we watched where the guy got in front of his path and just stopped him?
Yeah.
Is that the case here?
No.
Okay, so we can't use cutoff then, right?
Okay.
Or I wouldn't. What else would we use? If you guys have other thoughts, throw them out.
I have nothing on this one. I picked this one more for the back judge mechanic.
Okay.
Because we're snapping at the 14, and we talked about this the other night about our 5-man mechanic and how the back judge is supposed to start in the middle of the end zone. And so his keys, we've got 2 wideouts at the bottom along with the tight end. So his keys are the 2 bottom guys.
Okay.
And that's the H's key up top.
Okay.
And I certainly don't like him walking here at the end, but I didn't like where he started. It didn't look like he was. Me personally, I would have started at least in the middle of the goalpost to have an angle at those keys.
Yeah.
And this is tough to get off of your key because go back to the beginning, Kirk. Because your key at the bottom takes you downfield a little bit with a defender. So you back it up a little bit. Go ahead and let it go. So he's going to sprint toward the end zone, and then we're going to go to the other side. And it's in a 5-man for me. This is the toughest thing for me is to come off of that key, because in this mechanic, snapping at the 14. The back judge has the goal line and the end line.
Okay. I like that. So let's just take it prior to the snap. Just go back. Stop it right there. Mm-hmm. So if we are just looking at this play, we're snapping on the short side of the field over here, right?
On the hash, yes.
On the hash over here, the near hash to us. And so you got all that real estate on the other side of the field, right?
Yep.
And so I'm thinking about that in the back of my mind. I don't know what down it is, but I know, they're going to the end zone, but they want to work with that open field. So they probably have maybe their best receiver over there, tallest guy. They're trying to give him some room. But watch what the quarterback does. He does like a 7-step drop. If I'm the back judge here, he never even looks over here at our receivers. Look, his head never looks. He's going there all day. So you can cheat. And like I said, it's uncomfortable when you do it, trust me. But once you start to get the hang of it, it will really help you. But he never looks down here at all.
And here's why I would also cheat, because if you go back to your 2 keys, we're not pressed. So look inside and read, run past. They're not pressed, even though the key is going to go down. What are we, 2 seconds in? Look at that quarterback. He's never looking where your key is.
Never.
You've got to help out here. Again, back on the end line. You're responsible. The back judge is responsible for the end line here. I have nothing on this, other than wanted to talk about the mechanics of the back judge.
Perfect, and I like that. I think we always call it. You get these crazy plays. We call them buns. It's just a big, ugly nothing.
Yep.
But you make a good point as far as from the transitioning part from a back judge standpoint, being on one side of the field, working to get over there. Sometimes you do get over there late if your receiver is doing something, if the quarterback happens to look at your guy. But just, this year, if we play football, just try to get in the habit of watching that quarterback's eyes as well, because you are a free safety back there. You're the referee for defense, and you're a free safety.
Hey, can I we're going to stay with this pass interference. This is too good of stuff. So those of you that wanted to hear about kick plays, I want to stay on this pass interference because this is too good. And it also explains why I'm not a back judge. I don't know how you guys do that. All right, this I've got pick play question mark on number 12. Let's see if we can get some intel. Say it again, Mark.
You got it.
Okay. All right, we should be. We have a squiggly here, so it's going to tell us where to look here in a sec. So we got offense is dark. Okay. Whiteout is who we're focused on a potential pick play. And when we talk about pick plays, I'd really love to hear conversations about how we can do better at recognizing them.
So, Kirk, can you take it back, please, to the beginning?
Yep.
So let's talk right now about, Terrence, if you can talk a little bit about this coverage right now before the ball snapped. Freeze it. So what do we got formation-wise? How can we as back judges look at this formation? What are we thinking? What are you thinking about now? Formation, defensive coverage, things like that.
So what do we got? Is that trips to this side?
Yes.
Okay. So in our mechanic, we have the widest guy, or we have these 1 and 2?
1 and 2.
Okay. So we got 1 and 2. None of them are pressed. The nearest guy is 7 yards away. So let it play.
Do we like our back judge's starting position, Chuck?
Yes.
Okay.
So Chuck, I got a question for you. Stop it. Would you shade over a little bit more to the left, or is he already shaded to the left? I guess he is, because the ball's being.
That's about as. I stay between the goalposts, so that looks to be about as wide as I want to be right there, and I've got a good angle.
Okay.
On those two receivers.
And then let's look at
and he's looking right in at them too. From
the back judge standpoint, let's look at the tackle. If you were looking at this tackle, is that going to help you on this play?
I will be looking at him at the snap, because I'm going to read run pass, because I have no press. Let's not officiate error.
Good.
Okay, so stop it right there. What's the first? This guy is coming in motion, right?
No, he's going to set back up.
Okay, but he was showing motion, right?
Right.
And the defender decided to follow him over, right? So I would assume they're just in motion. I would just, the reason players run him or do motion is just the tail of their hand if they're in man coverage or zone. So let's just assume this is man coverage. He's not pressed, but man. So let it go. So he's running out. Now, let me ask you a question. Watch number one. I mean, is he really like running a route? Because if they're in man coverage, we know this widest defender is covering that deep guy or the number one receiver. And so who's covering number two? It's got to be this safety that starts working his way up, right? So knowing that information, this receiver knows that information too. Watch how lazy his route is in his arms. See how he drops his arms? I mean, he's really not running a route clearly at all. And he knows that this safety is covering this guy that's coming out in the flat. So this is a pick play in my book.
Absolutely.
So, Terrence, let's talk a little bit more about how you recognized man-to-man coverage, because when they shifted, the defenders shifted almost man up on that shift. So as a back judge now, you're thinking, I got these guys on the outside man-to-man now.
Correct.
And even the wing guys, I think the wing guy might be able to help them recognize that a little bit too.
Well, he should. Well, what is he looking at, number 3?
Yeah.
So his number 3 just stands straight up. It doesn't do anything.
Play. Yeah.
So, I mean, I haven't done the line of scrimmage in a very long time, 5-man, but could that be a look where you could get there and look as well?
I think as a wing guy, our weakness, our quick look is always like behind that umpire.
Okay.
In that area there, but it's a very quick play. And the back judge has to get this.
But I think, and then that's a great point, Mark. I mean, it's great. But I think even before the snap, they've already showed some of their cards already. With that,
offense or defense?
The offense.
And talk to me, let's go in depth. What do you mean by showing their cards?
With this guy, so number 1, the widest guy, I know they all kind of slide over, but he slides over to come in motion or to get, all he's trying to do is get his splits right, so to speak, and he's trying to line this guy up. But the fact that the defender followed him over, like I told you earlier, that tells me that they're in man. So this guy,
right,
the safety right there, he's not covering number 1. This receiver knows that the safety is covering this slot guy, this number 2 guy. And so look at his route. He just goes right. He goes and seeks him out because he knows he's covering him. So he's got to come up. So he goes and seeks that guy out right there. So they showed their hand before the ball was even snapped, in my opinion. I mean, my antenna really needs to go up when this guy comes in motion. And then I see to myself, I'm saying, who's covering this number 2 guy? And there's no way he's out in space by himself that wide open. Somebody's got to be covering him. You should just be thinking about that. And so this guy slides down. Watch his arms drop right there. It's almost like he's setting a basketball pick. His arms drop. He's not pumping his arms to try to run a route. He clearly is coming to pick that guy off.
Yeah, that doesn't look like a pass route.
He's not trying to run a route to get open.
I'll say it again. I think if our wings stay put a little longer and not head downfield so soon, you're going to have a better angle at so many of these plays. Because right here, he's straight lined. If he were to help at all, I think we got to stay longer at the line of scrimmage. All right, let me see if I got another pick play here. We got about 5 more minutes. Let's see. Actually, there's a couple pick plays in here. See if this one's. Yeah, I like this one too.
So again, let's start from coverages. How are we looking, Terrence, here on coverages? We're very compressed now. What's your thought process? You're on the in line and things are really compressed. What are you thinking about to help you make a better call? Just give a top line.
So, I mean, you already said it, Mark. We're down in the red zone. What happens when we're compressed? Everything happens 10 times as fast. And for us, we can't retreat or go anywhere. We got to stay locked in on that in line. So when this situation happens, especially with 5-man mechanics like you guys are having, your initial responsibility, I wouldn't be doing a lot of switching down here when we got this condensed area. I mean, you got to kind of zone in who you have and just stay locked in, because when we start to switch or thinking that our linesman's going to pick this guy coming down in the flat or whatever, he may not be doing that. And so we're not communicating and we'll miss a blatant foul. So the first thing I'm thinking is we're down in the red zone right at the goal line. I'm staying with my initial responsibility throughout this down on this play.
So for wing guys, we also have to be locked down more on our man than in any other part of the field, right?
And just remember to yourself, the play is going to happen fast. This is not going to be a long, drawn-out play in any form or fashion unless it breaks down for some reason. But it's going to be a quick play, so there's no need for you to be switching and looking all over the place.
Great points. It's just not a time factor to be going into a zone coverage of any sort.
Exactly.
And on plays like this, the back judge, you're never closer to the snap. I mean, you're 11 yards away, and usually your vision's much wider at 20, 22, 25.
Chuck, I got a question for you, Chuck. So like at Shea Stadium, or some of these stadiums where they have the goalpost support right on the end line, how do you handle that? Okay.
Depends on the play. On something like this, I would, if we were at Shea certainly on this play, I have the one I have where the player was circled would be mine. I would probably be on the inside of the opposite end goalpost.
On the inside?
On the inside of the post if it's on the line, or maybe right in front of it, just to have that better angle looking back at this number 2.
So, but
who was circled?
If the play goes to that corner to your right, aren't you going to be trying to fight around that support?
I would be a step on the field.
Okay, all right.
I would make sure I'm not getting blocked out by that. But
okay.
Yeah, that's not fun at Shea.
No. Oh man, what a mess.
Mm-hmm.
This looks like a bowling ball coming through some pins here. Oh no, Terrence, was he running a route?
He's not running a route, but let me ask. So in high school, can they block within a yard of the line?
2 yards.
Okay.
Expanded neutral zone is 2 yards.
Okay, so they can block within that 2 yards without having any OPI.
Yeah.
But it does not go into the end. No expanded into the end zone.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's a lineman downfield issue.
Oh, let it play again then. Let's watch. Watch how fast the play develops.
Let me get rid of this.
And get rid of that.
Yep.
This play happens quick, right? Develops fast. I'm not calling a foul on that.
I'm calling a foul on bad defense.
I was going to say the same thing.
That's exactly what happened, Mark. They get confused over there. I mean, watch is that number 2?
Number 2 and number 8.
Yeah. I mean, they're
although 8 doesn't make contact.
They're confused from a coverage standpoint.
Right.
So that's why we really need to focus in and understand just football concepts. Just because this looks ugly and it's like, man, how did that guy get so free open? I mean, I've seen people throw a flag on there. Like, there's no way. There's got to be something because that guy's so open. And we're penalizing, the offense for doing that. So you need to understand what's going on out here. These guys get confused in the secondary. Completely.
Their heads look at their heads, how they're turning. They don't know who to look at.
Right.
Yeah. I have no problem with that.
I agree.
That's when you turn to the defensive coach and say, that's a horrible call.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what my umpire told me to tell you, Coach. My umpire said it was a horrible call.
That was a horrible defense.
So, real quick on this play, back up. So, Chuck, when you're on the end line, where are your toes? Are you right on that end line, or are you like a step off of that?
I like a step off, depending, of course, if I've got posts on the end line, which we don't have here. But yeah, I'm off, and if I need to turn, then I'm straddling that line and looking straight down that line if I need to.
Okay, perfect. And then the line a scrimmage official that signals touchdown here, let it play, Kurt. I just want everybody to get in the practice of doing this all the time. So he signals touchdown. I want just turn your body and look at that. Watch that receiver that just scored.
Is he spiking the ball? Is he doing push-ups?
Yeah, but physically turn your body. I mean, sometimes you could say, well, I can just turn my head. Well, he never even looks at him anyway. But as he's crossing, I would signal and then just turn and watch him. And so that tells everybody in the whole world, if he does something stupid, I mean, you got it. If I'm sitting there watching you, I know mentally you're in the game because you're turning and watching the receiver and seeing what he does after that. So just don't signal touchdown and just pose like, you're posing for the camera. We all want to do that and look pretty out there unless you have a gray beard like I do. But I mean, turn and watch the players.
Yep.
Boom, he caught the ball. Turn and watch him. Just keep your eyes on him.
Yeah, great comment. All right. Well, we are at 8:30. I apologize those of you that wanted to look at some kick plays, but Terrence, that is just awesome stuff that you're
Absolutely.
giving us. I can't thank you enough bringing this stuff to us. It's we're so blessed. Hickey, always thank you for your help. Usry, thank you.
Anytime.
I don't know if we got any comments. We didn't really have time to open up the comments, but this was just outstanding. So thank you again. Guys, have a good week. Stay safe. I think we're going to cut it off from here. So thank you. Have a good night.
Thanks.
Be safe, everybody. Take care. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.